On today's episode of The Surface of the Sun, we're going to do these Viper valve covers, or coil covers actually, again. I did them the first time and I was not happy with them. It just didn't come out good. I'm going to try something a little different this time, and if you're seeing this, that means it worked, so stay tuned. One thing I want to point out on these coil covers are, I don't know if you can see that, we're shooting this in 4K, but these things are rougher than a stucco bathtub. They're castings, they're just not smooth. So we're gonna try to do a little bit of sanding on these before we do anything else. We're gonna try to smooth it a little bit. Powder coating has some self-leveling properties. I just don't think it's gonna smooth them enough. So we're gonna try to manually smooth them a little bit, and then hopefully the powder does the rest of it. So I'll go ahead and sand these and get them all tuned up, and we'll come back and see what they look like. As you can see, went over them with 120 grit sandpaper, and if you see all the lighter silver spots, those are high spots, and the darker color spots are low spots. So she's pretty rough. So right now, instead of being a stucco bathtub, it's like a broomed concrete bathtub maybe. So we just try to smooth it out a little. I mean, we can't reinvent the wheel, but we can just try to do what we can to make it better. And hopefully my new idea here will help to make them a little bit smoother. Let's get to it, see what we come up with. Could be great, could be a shit show. Never can tell. One thing I wanted to kind of go over is we're spraying this hot. These two pieces hot because they're cast. Okay, when you're gonna spray something hot that's thin, you gotta be ready to go. What I mean by ready to go is I have my material loaded. We're all ready to go. I got the gun turned on. Everybody's happy there. And I like to go over and test fire the gun. And what I mean by that is I'm checking the cloud on the gun. And I want to make sure, since I'm doing this hot, that it's not too dense. See how the cloud's like, that's great. That's about where we want to be. So you want to make sure you do that type of stuff before you get to the point of pulling the cart in here, because these parts are going to be rapidly losing temperature. I mean, if they come out at 400 and it's not a very far shot from here to the oven that I'm using, right? By the time they get here, I'll bet you they shed 40 or 50 degrees. So right now with this first coat, our whole goal in life is to try to stop the outgassing that can happen with cast. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna shoot the parts hot while the air in the casting is expanded. Think about that for a second, and I'll talk more about that when we go to shoot the parts. All right, showtime. We're going to bring these in here, get them in the shot. It's probably pretty good. We've already test fired our gun. These are hot. I'm gonna hook the ground up real quick, just to say I did it. Metallic colors, I always like to start from the back. And what we're doing here is we're putting just the quickest of coats on here. You just want to get enough on there for it to melt and seal up the surface a little bit, or a lot of it. You don't want to put too much for a couple of reasons. What we're doing here is we got these parts hot, and we got the air all expanded, and so that the pores are open. Let's think about it like that. And what you're doing is you're putting the powder in the pore so that later on when you heat the part up, the air doesn't expand and blow a bubble. Does that make any sense? So that's what we're after here. And we're just putting a quick and dirty, you know, no big deal. You know, if you don't get it all, you want to get it all because you want to seal it up, but you're going to be able to see this here happen, hopefully. If it ain't dead dark in here. Maybe I should be having the light on my head when I did this. You might be able to see better. Or I can put the light on the camera. I'll have to look at this after it's done. And that's it. As you see, it's melting. And that's what we want. We want that material is basically gonna, as it cools, the air, let's say, is gonna shrink, and it's gonna try to draw the powder that's liquidy or a little bit melty into the hole. You'd be surprised on what that does for microgassing or outgassing. These are cast parts. They're gonna have air in them naturally. There's nothing you can do about that. You gotta deal the hand you're dealt, or work with the hand that you're dealt. So the way to minimize it without primer is to spray the cast parts hot. You can't, if you do it cold, oh, that's terrible. Even just plain blasted parts, okay? If you were to spray them cold, bone cold, and let's say in gloss black, and your blast profile's a little bit too rough, what happens is you put it in the oven, the air that's in the blast profile, because you got to think, you're shooting powder on, the powder doesn't go all the way to the bottom of the, let's call it the crater or the blast profile. There's a little air pocket there. When you put it on cold and then you put it in the oven, that air that's in that pocket expands. Well, the problem is it expands after the powder skins over. And once the powder skins over and the air expands, boop, that's where you look at a part and you see all those little, it's called microgassing. It's a problem. And that's caused by the blast profile being a touch too rough, or it could be way too rough, who knows. But that's what you get. So most people that, let's call it good at powder coating, they're pretty decent at what they do, primarily spray everything hot. Because it's just it's a way to eliminate one more thing. But the problem, you can create yourself problems doing that, because if you put too much on it, because what we're gonna do when this cools here in a minute is we're gonna dust it up. See how it's kind of got a gloss or a shine? You can't really, I don't want to touch it, but you can't wipe it off. You can wipe it off with a thing because it cooled too fast. But what you want to do is you want to dust it up so that the metallics are even, okay? And then it goes back in the oven. And hopefully we don't get a bunch of outgassing from the cast. But that's not what we're testing here. What we're really testing here, I don't want to tell you yet, because I don't know if it's going to work. I'm keeping it a secret. It's only going to be about, in movie time, it's only going to be about another 5, 7, 10 minutes and you're going to know the secret. So if it's even a secret, it might be a crock of shit. I don't know. I mean, this is how you figure out stuff in powder coating. You throw up a part and you put material on it and you see what it does. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, book smarts is all well and fine, and really honestly what got me on to doing this was reading some things. I'll give you a hint. This is what my hint is. I was reading on the Columbia powder coating site about illusions, just in general, okay? And what they say is, let's say I sprayed with the clear, because this requires the clear to activate and turn red when it's done. They say when you put the clear on, if you miss a spot and it has a little bit of clear on it and you cure it and you pull it out and let it cool and put more clear in that area, that it won't fix it, okay? So what that tells me is the color is dying from the base into the clear. But once the clear gels or locks up, it doesn't flow anymore. You'll hear me say lock up, that's my term for it. But the gel is the correct term. Once it gels, it doesn't move around anymore, okay? So basically what that's telling me is if I put more on it, it's not gonna fix it because that's already gelled and it doesn't allow the dye to transfer, okay? When I read that, I was like, huh, I think I know what's wrong with, there's two colors that are a problem. This is Illusion Malbec. If you watch the airboat trailer video, this is the same color. Looks purple, it's really red, yeah, same thing. This is for the same airboat. I did these originally and I was not happy with them. So I told them to bring them back. I wanted to redo them. I wanted to try something. After reading that, I think I'm onto something. So far, the problem childs are Illusion Malbec and Illusion Cherry. is another one that I've seen this happen on. It doesn't seem as bad on cherry, but I've noticed it and I don't like it. So we're gonna see what we can do about that. Let's see what happens. Okay, we're here where we're gonna do the dust coat. And when I said in the last segment that I like to start on the back, I'll show you why. Okay, so I'm gonna start on the back here. I wanna turn the material up a little bit from the last coat. We need a little bit more in order for it to go on good and not back ionize, those sort of things. We got a good cloud now. And we're just gonna go and cover up all the shininess that I see. That's done. Same thing in the back of this one. We're gonna go around here and all the shininess is gonna go away. The ground's hooked up, but it's hooked to the other pole and you can hear that baby chapping. I'm gonna have to switch poles with the ground, it looks like. All right, so I sprayed the backside. You see this around the edge right there? Okay, if I spray it from the front first, and then I go around the back and spray it, the metallics in that halo, I like to call it a halo, will land differently than they do when you spray it from the front. It's a polarity thing, okay? Doesn't really happen on round stuff, but on flat stuff that has a hard 180-degree side, there's something opposite of that. This is what happens. So if you spray the back first and then the front, then you can go around the back, and what I do is I back way up and I just feather it in, kind of like you would in a car paint job. They do the same thing with metallics. They back up and dust the whole thing to even out any modeling. Very similar to what you would do here. So we're gonna put this on the front. You can see you just let the gun do the work, kind of shake her around a little bit. Then I usually do a couple of sweeps. There you go. That's what you get. We want to look and make sure we're in these little divots. Beautiful. All right, we're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. I need to move that ground. It's still doing it. That's my connection between my pole that has been powder coated too many times. It's wrapped in aluminum foil, by the way, in case you're wondering. And so you can take it off and refresh the ground every so often. All right, well, that's pretty much that. I'm gonna hang this gun up and I'm gonna grab that camera and show you guys what I mean. You see the silver edge that's around there? Okay, that doesn't really, I mean, I shouldn't say it doesn't really go away, but it doesn't really go away. I got a little holiday right there. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but this is a good opportunity to show you what I'm looking for. Do you see right here and here, where it's not exactly covered, you see a little shine through there, all right? Well, that tells me that it ain't covered. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back over here and grab the gun. I'm gonna try to do this without powder coating you guys, but you might get some on you today. All right. Now you notice how when I sprayed it from this side, a lot of that silvery edge went away. You see this? See how this side's got that silvery edge? Now what happened on this side though? We didn't get it. We stayed inside the cover, so we're in good shape. If you want to watch that kind of go away from a distance, you just kind of give it a little something. You see how it's not as silver around the edge and it's blended better? It's kind of what you want to do, but really what you want to see is the front side. The front side is all that really matters. I don't want to say it's all that really matters, because I really hate that excuse where they say, oh, well, you don't see it. Come on, man. I mean, if you do have a flaw and you don't see it and it's on the back, okay, maybe it's acceptable. But what I'm saying is, if you go through your whole powder coating life saying, oh, you don't see that, come on, man. That ain't what we're going for here. So what we're gonna do now, since they're dusted up, they're nice and even, they're not mottled, looks like everyone's happy, they're gonna go in the oven for a pre-cure, I like to call it. And we're just gonna try to get these babies up to about 350. If I can pull them up to 350 and then take them out, I'm in good shape. We'll get good dye into the clear, we'll get everything that we want. We won't drag the metallics down with the weight of the clear. That's just some of the things you gotta, really at the end of the day, you can go to 300 as like the very minimum threshold, but there are some like metallic, charcoal metallics that I've done. Oh my God. If you don't pull them up to 350, 375, man, they slide, and it's a bowling ball paint job, I call it, but it's really a gutter ball. Really ain't anything desirable. Terrible looking. But what we're gonna do is throw these in the oven for enough time to get them up to 350, and then pull them out and let them cool. And once they're cold and ready to put the clear on, we'll come back and have a little look-see. All right, here we are out of the oven. These were in there for 6 minutes at 400 degrees, which yielded 365 part temperature. So I pulled them out, we're letting them cool now. As you can see, remember what I was saying about rougher than a stucco bathtub? They are not smooth. When I was talking about the gassing, you see that little peck in the V right there? That's what I'm talking about. And cast parts will be covered in that if you're not careful. But they're pretty rough. The roughness though is not what we're doing today. My thing today is clear on these parts. I'm noticing that for some reason this color knocks the gloss off the clear, and I can't figure out why it is. I really think that it's something that is coming from the base into the clear, and I've used multiple different clears. So this is the one I'm using now is the third different clear that I've tried. It's actually a proprietary clear that me and another guy, actually I'm just assisting in the development of it. It may be available at some point, but we're still in the development phases of it in a way. I just really want to master the use of it, and then we can talk about, all the rest of it. And I don't think it's a clear thing, to be honest with you, because every one of the clears that I've put on this does the same exact thing. And to be honest with you, it's not awful, but it's not great. And I want to be on the great side, not on the, oh, it's not awful. That's terrible. I'm not down with that. But what we're going to do is we're going to let these cool, and we're going to put a coat of clear on them. And then we're going to go into the oven with the clear on it, and this is where it's going to get tricky. So I'll give you a hint what we're going to do. We're going to put 2 coats of clear on this. My theory is something in the dye is knocking the gloss off of it. After reading the thing on Columbia's site, I think that the second coat of clear will not be affected by the dye, and the first coat of clear will be affected by the dye, and we're gonna see. I'm gonna find out today. We're gonna know. So if you see this, it's good news. That means it might have worked, but I might be showing it to you just to show you what a shit show can look like. It happens, but we'll get back to you here in a minute when these cool down. Last time they took like 15 minutes or so to cool. But usually what I do with these, I put them in front of my biggest fan, which is this guy. And what I do is I wait until they get, you know, enough where stuff don't stick to them, because my biggest fan there will blow dust all over them and whatever else that's on the ground or in the air or whatever. So you want to wait until they're not sticky, let's call it. It doesn't take very long. And then I throw them in front of the fan and power cool them. So if you ever hear me talk about power cooling, that's courtesy of that big old dude. I think that's 5 feet, maybe. I don't know, it's a big dude though. Moves a lot of air. And this is Florida. I mean, that guy right there is one of the reasons why I even come to work. So, you know, if this guy goes down, Mike might stay at home. Sorry. But, you know, we'll see you when I fix the fan. Probably about a good spot right there. So what we're going to do here is clear these. Pretty simple process. You can probably see out of the corner of your eye here, I'm using an Encore gun. I have my voltage is set to 25 kV and my microamps are set to 50 kV. So it's very low. It's a very low setting, but this clears very finely ground. So it's something that you need. And I like to do the same thing. I mean, I try to stay consistent. I'll shoot the back first. I don't like it. I don't know why I don't like it. I think it's probably because I didn't put the ground on it. That's what happens when you dodo bird. Oh, that's a lot better. Huh, imagine that. People say you don't need the ground. You need the ground. It wants more than that. So I just went to 30 kV on the voltage output on the gun, and still left it at 5 microamps, and it's acting a lot better. I didn't like it at first. I didn't want to go on there. I used to use 30 on my other clear, but I just noticed that it was a little hot for this. So I cranked it down. It was still hot, so I lowered the microamps. And I think what it wanted in the first place was the microamps lowered and not the voltage. See, I'm keeping a good distance. And you don't necessarily have to cover it in the first pass, if that makes any sense to you. You can go on layers sort of until it's covered. And that's generally the better way to get an even coat. I wonder if that's a peck. I see a little dot right there that I don't like, but if I mess with it, I'm going to cause it to be worse. And he wants to sand the letters off, I think, on these anyway, so that's going to be a whole nother adventure. All right, so we got the clear on there, and we are going to go in the oven, and I got to decide how far I want to cure these. I have to cure them far enough so that they darken completely and they're the right color, but I don't want them to go all the way till they're cured so that the next coat of clear stays on it. So it's kind of a catch-22 on what I want to do here. But I should be able to bring them up to cure temp. If I bring them, because this powder is, it's the same cure schedule as Clear Vision. It's 375 at 18 minutes. So I think I'm gonna wind up just getting them to be dark enough, let the bleed action happen, and then I'm gonna pull them. So we're gonna try that and see what happens. This is an experiment. We'll see how it goes. It's pretty damn good.